Hi guys, this is part 2 on my follow-up to the sad truth about modern Resident Evil, and I'm not really going to go into a lot of detail here. I'm just going to give a quick summary of where I think the current series is at. So obviously with Resident Evil 7 it went back to the roots in terms of tension and I want to say survival horror as a genre. Even though it was first person, even though it didn't carry much of the story and lore of the original Resident Evil series, it still basically went back to survival horror. But with the success of the remakes and the modern remakes I should say, the current series, i.e. Resident Evil 8 and 9, Capcom has literally zero interest in going back to the roots of prime heyday Resident Evil, and they would much rather just focus on this new direction, which still has an identity crisis, is still jumping between this type of stealth, walking around, sneaky tension version plus action version. And the story, again, more of the same tropes we're seeing when people lack creativity. We've got Timu Wesker, we've got random Saw villain, like knockoff Jigsaw, but he's also Nemesis, like, I don't fucking know. So a lot of shit, let's just put it that way, a lot of shit. And some people love this shit and they eat it up and they're like, give it to me Capcom, because I'm a consumer. Hashtag RE fan, hashtag oh my god, did you see the trailer? Hashtag reaction, hashtag streamer, hashtag gameplay. Me, I'm such a fucking old school RE fan that I dipped out around 2007 and I've just been commenting on the franchise the past few decades. Yes, I am insane. That is me, that is H-Man. But what I'll say is this, the main reason I made those videos was to speak to the audience of fans who feel like they're in a parallel dimension now because they've got their once cherished favourite series with all the theories around it, all the people guessing and questioning like, wait a minute, like, what's going to happen with Umbrella, and when we're going to get Barry back, and maybe we're going to see the series take place when Leon and Barry go to the island, or, you know, like, what's the mystery behind the T. Veronica virus, all this stuff which was kind of like up in the GameSpot forums at the time. I remember these days, the hope for Outbreak File 3, etc. Like, that's just long gone. We honestly do live in a different universe timeline now, is what I would say, and the current trajectory is that Capcom's going to continue this route until it becomes so corporatized, so much of a product that it just lacks any depth or soul at all, because at the moment they're baiting people on nostalgia, they're baiting people on, remember Wesker? Look, we've got this new Wesker. Remember Raccoon City? Well, we'll go back to it for the 100th fucking time. But they don't really do anything new, you know? Outbreak was genuinely something that was trying to develop a stamp on what survival horror is, what Resident Evil can expand into in terms of like a weird type of prequel, but also delivering the horror, the tension, and an evolution in gameplay. You had the walking mechanics, the aiming, you had fully 3D environments that still looked awesome like they were pre-rendered. It was amazing stuff, killed off too early, all to make way for the money train that was Resident Evil 4 and everything else that followed. And guys, that is the current affair, that is the current headline, and it's not changing anytime soon. I guess we'll just have to go back to these mods, these indie versions, these little fan projects, and put our attention and focus there. And if you are one of these old school fans that has sold out to the new type of way of delivering Resident Evil games, I don't really judge you, I don't really care, it's just not for me, you know, I don't give a fuck about these new games. That's my honest opinion, you can have yours. Peace out.
Maybe we just didn't realize things had been going wrong for a long time.